During Trump's visit to the Ford factory in Dearborn, Michigan, he was greeted by a heckler who had some interesting things to say, which actually got the heckler suspended from his job at Ford. But he also comes out later to say he doesn't regret it, and we're going to show you guys why. TJ Sabula, a 40-year-old United Auto Workers local 600 line worker at the factory, told the Post that he was the one who shouted at Trump. He said he has been suspended from work pending an investigation. As far as calling him out, definitely no regrets whatsoever, Sabula said, though he added that he is concerned about the future of his job and believes he has been, quote, targeted for political retribution for, quote, embarrassing Trump in front of his friends. Sabula identifies as politically independent and said he never voted for Trump but has supported other Republicans. He estimated that he was roughly 60 feet away from Trump on Tuesday and that the president could hear him, quote, very, very, very clearly. He said he was specifically referencing Trump's handling of the Epstein matter. I don't feel as though fate looks upon you often, and when it does, you better be ready to seize the opportunity, Sabula said. And today, I think I did that. An online fundraiser was started Tuesday evening that sought to raise money for Sabula after his suspension. Quote, let's rally and support TJ and help him pay some bills, read the description of the fundraiser, which had collected more than $150,000 as of Wednesday morning. Well, it is now Wednesday afternoon as of this recording, and the fundraiser has raised over $380,000 for TJ Sabula, well exceeding their goal, previously set of $250,000. And man, I think that probably pays for one, maybe two salaries. Mike, what do you think? I think this guy's risk paid off, and he might not have to go to that Ford job for a while.
Yeah, quite literally paid off, right? So I think this is a pretty interesting situation because as far as free speech goes, obviously you have company policies. So while, it's not illegal what he did, he could still be fired or suspended and whatnot, especially if you're embarrassing like one of the lead, CEOs or whoever Trump was touring with. I'm sure was embarrassed by this. So, of course, there's going to be some retaliation there. But I think it is interesting, too, that he could potentially bring up a case that this is political discrimination and possibly even get a bigger payout down the road. We'll have to wait and see what all unfolds with that. But nonetheless, just the fact that Trump is even being greeted like this by blue-collar workers, by a guy who has consistently voted Republican, although he has not voted for Trump, apparently, I think that sort of speaks volumes. And again, make no mistake, Trump is protecting pedophiles with their handling of the Epstein files. There's no question there. So I'm glad to see him called out. I'm glad to see that he has to hear it. He has to see it. He can't just ignore it and be shielded from it. And it shows his really thin skin, the fact that, he just immediately resorts to flipping this person off. And, imagine, for example, if Biden or Obama had been touring a plant and flipped off a worker who called out something to them, how crazy the headlines would be going for this. So this just, I think, reinforces the narrative that the Trump administration is trying to suppress free speech. Again, just to clarify, I'm not saying that, him being suspended is a violation of free speech, but you can tell that there's going to be political pressure around this. And so this whole idea of we should just all comply, we should just go along, even though the Trump administration is breaking the law with their release of the Epstein files being delayed and incomplete and all these things and over redacted. They're literally breaking the law. We're supposed to just be okay with it and not don't protest. Don't call him a pedophile protector. Let's, the man has feelings too. Let's, it's ridiculous. So I'm really glad to see that people are still defiant like this. It sucks that he's suspended, but I'm not as surprised by that either. But I do think you're right, Emmanuel, that, this GoFundMe is certainly making up for that, crushing these goals. So, and I think it's just an interesting tidbit too, to just be able to say, hey, down the road as a grandfather or something, you can say, oh, it's like I called the guy a pedophile protector and blah blah blah. I mean, maybe it's not that cool, but I'm just thinking having this kind of moment, like in 1930s Germany, for example, like seeing somebody call Hitler something, heckle Hitler, to be the guy that heckled Hitler and to be alive to tell that story is interesting. So I don't know. Maybe I'm getting way too into the weeds, too political about it, but I just think that's an interesting tidbit as well. But I also think that his quote about seizing, was it when fate comes around, gives you these opportunities, you have to be ready. And I think I did that today. So I think, he's proud of what he did. He's not embarrassed. And yeah, I don't know. I think I approve of it, and we'll see what happens. But it sounds like he's got some good vacation time from that job coming up.
Look, they've only released barely 1% of the Epstein files. I think this man is completely right in his heckling and his message. Trump campaigned on this. He campaigned on transparency, releasing the files, draining the swamp. Isn't the swamp implicated in these files? Why are we not draining it? So I stand by this guy's heckle and his message. And look, talking about blue collar work, we just did an economic story on that a few days ago, and things are looking brutal for the blue collar sector. We showed you guys the chart of the blue collar jobs in this country. They are falling off a cliff, and that's not hyperbole. When you look at the chart, I'll put it up here, and I'll also link to that story. They are falling off a cliff. So this guy, he's not only heckling about the right things with the protecting of the Epstein class, but he's also coming from the class that's literally losing their jobs and livelihoods thanks to this administration. And I can say that because you can see the downfall of jobs really starting to increase rapidly as Trump gets sworn in January of 2025. There's no uptick. There's no turnaround. It's just down, down, down. We're in the worst job situation in this country since 2003, guys. Like that's 23 years of just some of the worst economic conditions we've seen. So anyway, I thought I would just throw that in there, given that this guy is a blue collar worker. But again, if this GoFundMe keeps going, it's not over yet. It's not done. And we'll also link it down below if you guys want to contribute. He might be looking at early retirement, and kudos to him.